The asset register disclaimer, which you know all about. What we're going to cover is why on earth we have an asset register. We've already discussed that you don't have any control of the infrastructure, but we'll go through it again. The most frequently asked question about asset registers, which we touched on this morning, and then the asset register itself, and so on and so forth for the end of it. So we've discussed, you and I, getting data out of the filing cabinet and onto a digital record. Insurance is a major reason for having the asset register.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier to see and understand the assets if you can put them on a computer. Insurance is a good idea for data asset registers. It's available 24/7. Insurance, much easier reporting insurance, and a number of attachments can be added to each record to give good governance and due diligence. And then by any chance, if I mentioned insurance, you'll know that that's why we have an asset register. So when it comes to either defending yourself as a counsel against a claim or making a claim against your insurance company, everything is made simpler by decent record keeping. And digital mapping and visualization make sure that you're much clearer about what is covered. It's much better or easier to demonstrate due diligence, A, with reports from a computer, and B, by having all of these things in place. So you probably see from the asset register that there are slots, columns for each of these important bits of information, and they're all there. So insurance companies tell me that nowadays the fire department won't even try to put out a fire in something like a village hall if there's no threat to other buildings and if there's no human being involved. So rather than risk a fire person, they'll just let the hall burn down. So you're going to have to insure it for replacement value rather than whatever you think the value of the hall is at the moment. And then it's much easier to keep your record keeping up to date once you've got the system in the asset register. So good reasons for keeping track for insurance purposes. So again, you're familiar with this. There are three types of layers. There's all the third-party ones, hundreds of them provided by outside sources. They're all read-only. The parish layers are ones that you create that you can do whatever you like with. And the asset register is a mixture of the two. So the structure, style, and geometry are all created for you by Geosphere. You can't do anything about changing the structure, but you have full control over the data. You can add it, you can edit it, you can remove it. The reason for this is the asset register is common to all users across the country. So you can't make changes because that's going to affect everybody else. So if you find that the asset register does not store the data, all the data that you want, and there is an instance, for instance, with street lighting, where nowadays people want to record whether they're LEDs, whether they're sodium, whether the lamppost is concrete or metal or fiberglass or whatever. Those don't exist at the moment, although they are working on it. And so you're going to have to add your own parish layer to cover that sort of stuff. Feedback to Geosphere is generally well received. So if you do find there are things that the asset register could be improved by all means, open a ticket and feed it back or do it through the forum so that other people can chip in, because that's how they improve the product. So if it isn't meeting your requirements, suffer not in silence, make a loud noise. Okay, the most frequently asked question is the one that you asked this morning. Can we import into the asset register from your existing spreadsheet? And by and large, the answer is no, because most spreadsheets don't have any location data in them, which Parish Online has to have. However, in the case of your streetlight contractor, he will have location information. So I think it's very much more likely that they'll just say, sure, send us the data, and they'll import it for you. Okay?
Perfect.
But anything else like your park benches and the bus shelters and everything else, unless there's location data built into your spreadsheet, Parish Online can't touch it for you.
Yeah, but we used to have pair mapping, and we still have it. We've not cancelled the contract yet.
All right.
a lot of our assets are already kind of logged on their mapping. Is that
brilliant? We'll just get them to export it, or just tell Geosphere and they'll take care of it. Absolutely. Great idea.
And that would be Geosphere would contact pair mapping themselves and
well, actually, the two know each other very well. So
okay.
They're sort of friendly rivals, if you will. But yes. They're very familiar with talking to each other and working with each other. Pair mapping tends to concentrate more on cemeteries and so forth than Parish Online. So that's where they're really strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're well known to Geosphere. So sure, a question to support or a ticket or a community forum will take care of that for you as well. That's great. You're going to get a ton of data into Parish Online very quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
Good news. Yep. All right. So what it is a ready-made collection of layers designed to capture the necessary data. The columns are the same throughout, with one exception, which we'll cover in a second. And the ones that experience is shown to be most needed, particularly by insurance companies. By the way, I don't know if you're aware that BHIB, as an insurance broker who work with whatever Norwich is called nowadays, Norwich Union.
Okay.
I've had a brief memory blank. It's a very famous, very large insurance company beginning with A. But anyway,
Aviva.
There you go. Thank you. Yes. So BHIB find that they save so much time and money by companies using Parish Online that they will actually pay your annual fee for you if you insure through them.
Yeah.
And as it happens, they actually are very competitive because this is the sort of business they focus on. So I would recommend that if you're renewing your insurance or somebody else is doing it on behalf of your council, ask them to have a go through BHIB as one of the competitive quotes, because it will save you your annual fee on Parish Online. And that annual fee is not built into their cost. In other words, they don't raise the price to cover the cost of the subscription. They actually reckon that they save so much time and money that it's well worth their while. So when you're going to put asset data into the asset register, you've got to work out where it belongs. So I'm going to show you examples of the sorts of belongings. But on the left here, we have laid out all the layers of the asset register. And the first one is buildings. So we're going to click on that. And all the columns in each of the asset registers or asset register layers are exactly the same, except for this one. So the buildings is the only one that has the unique property reference number. You're probably well aware that every building in the country has its own reference number, and therefore it makes sense to use that as the record for the buildings. So I'll show you how we get hold of the university, the UPRN, in a second. But every building falls within a list of categories, and the category changes depending on which layer you're in. Excuse me. So here's the categories for buildings, and it's only part of the list. You can scroll down, it goes on for lots longer. And we're going to look at the layers, the other layers, to show you the different categories available there. So if you want to change to a different sort of category or layer, just to see what the difference in categories are, we can change and say here we're going to go for building contents, and now look, you've got a completely different list here of categories. So very helpful, very useful. If you're transferring stuff from a spreadsheet, say, into Parish Online, it helps to have the categories and put into your spreadsheet first. It makes it much faster when you're transferring the data. And to get the full list of layers and categories, there's a full list within the help and support place, and a very useful video. You can store the URL to that particular listing here, or obviously you get this when I send it to you. And the beauty of that is you can then do a printout of every single layer and category within each layer, so to help putting into your spreadsheet before you transfer the data into Parish Online. So that's my tip for today. Here's a bit more. So annotate with the appropriate layer and category. We just discussed that. You get that from a knowledge base. When you get to the knowledge base, type in asset register, and it'll come up with what you need. When selecting the next layer, use the list shortening feature. So you've got 15 layers to choose from when you're selecting which layer in which to enter data. If you just type in the first few letters of the next layer that you want, it'll get there that much more quickly. In other words, when you're typing in your data from your spreadsheet, Robert, or it's going to be you doing this or somebody else, but it's a good idea to sort the spreadsheet in the order of the layers that you've just typed in there. And then if you recall, when you're adding a new feature, every time you've completed and saved a feature, the system changes to a completely brand new record. And so then it's very fast to enter all the layers to begin with, everything from the building layer, then everything from the building contents layer, then everything, and it's all in order for you. So it's just a matter of some dear typist racing through the list and just copying straight into Parish Online, because it'll select the empty records. The system's been designed so it expects you to be entering from a list. So as soon as you entered one feature, it goes ahead and says, here's another blank record. And then when you got to the end of the first layer, the buildings, and you want to go to building contents, selecting the layer is a matter of just typing in the letters. It saves it for, oops, sorry. Okay, use attachments to generate a track record of all the usual stuff. And I was going to show you, or at least I'm going to go into mode in a second, to show you adding an attachment and how you should name the attachments. So we're going to go into a demo now. Right. So let me turn on My Parish Online, or you can do this if you prefer, whichever way you'd like to do it. You want to watch it or you want to do it?
I'll watch it, I think.
Okay. Let's switch over to Stoddart-Stones, get to there. There we go. Let's go to Parish Online. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is where you get the unique property reference number from. So here we are in our parish. If you go down to the addresses and you go down to the address plus points, and it screams out like this, you can choose to say, I'm now going to talk about the village hall. So let's just talk about the village hall, which is sort of there, which is that one. If I click on that, up comes, maybe I don't come up with a unique property reference number. I thought we did. Yes, I do. So here is the Long Sutton Village Hall. Here is the UPRN. So you would copy that and paste it into the record in the asset register. So copy that. Oh, sorry, just that bit. And then come into our asset register. There, go to buildings, and if we were to find the village hall, which is there, and lo and behold, there is the UPN, because I've already done it, but that would be where you would paste it as you were creating your new records in the asset register. So that's where you find the UPRN. I just need to pop back and see what else I was going to talk to you about. Yep, village hall, got the UPRN. Oh, the list shortening feature in the feature editor. Fast date selection, yes. Screenshot of dates, yes. Naming attachments, yes. Add an attachment, okay. Let's go switch stones, come on. There we go. So if we now say we're going to add a new feature, and it wasn't going to be in this layer, it's going to be one of the other layers, you can jump to the other layers just by typing in the first letters. Let's say it's going to be a defibrillator. So I just typed in DE and immediately it jumped to defibrillator, which is what you want. So select that. And then we can go in and you've got a different list of categories. Interesting that it sort of takes the business stuff. We've got a couple of defibrillators, so they're not there. But that was just showing you how you can leap to. This is quite a long list of layers because it lists every layer available to you. So it'll be all the asset register layers and all your parish layers and a bunch of third-party layers that you could be using to find data. So use the shortening form up here, just type in the first few letters, it'll jump straight to at least the few categories that you're looking for. It's going to show you dates. All right, there are several dates in here: date purchase, last valuation date, last inspection date. The first time you enter it, this date may be years ahead of the current one. So clicking back through here is not a good idea because you've got to make hundreds of clicks. But if you click on the year, now you get, if you click on the year, there you go. You can go now select the year you want. Let's say this asset was bought in 1984. You jumped straight to, you know, the 2nd of February, it's all in there already. So that's a much faster way of getting the dates. The second thing I want to show you is that if we added a new feature, and I need to select a category and say that defibrillators are, let's just say for argument's sake, they're furnitures. We're now all set to go. There's nowhere here I can add an attachment of the last inspection record or the maintenance interval or whatever it is, but you save the record. And then you can go into the record again. Let's kill this. Go into the record. Building contents. All right, let's go to building contents. Let's turn off the buildings. Go into there. Building contents. Defib. So there's the solar panel. I got the wrong one. Let's zoom in a bit. I can't even remember where I put this defibrillator. Sorry for that. That's not a defibrillator either. Oh, I meant to choose that one. No, that's the building reference number. Let's turn off that layer. Shut you down, go down to here, turn off you. That's better. Right. The point being that if I go into here now, it doesn't have to be a defibrillator after all. You'll see that I'm now able to add an attachment. Now, that wasn't there when we were in the first startup mode, but it arrives once you've saved the document for the first time. You can now add anything you like. So this is where you'd add your inspection reports, your monitoring reports, whatever it is. And sometimes you get third-party contractors to do this. So you can give them access to this particular record and say, you know, add in your monthly inspection report or whatever it happens to be in here. Again, we're in the business of trying to save your colleague, the town clerk, and her crew as much work as possible. So if you can outsource this to other people, or you can get them to share the load, that makes it much lighter for the people who are carrying the burden at the moment. So that was the purpose of that exercise. Let's just make sure I've covered what I said I'd cover. Yes, we've done that. Yes, we've done that. Yes, we've done that. Yes, we've done that. Oh, naming the attachments. So if we go back to where we were. Come on, guys, you can do it. There we go. Can't do that. I think it was simple, wouldn't you? Why are we not in the right mood? Yes, we are. Go to. Oh, I see. I was in the wrong place altogether. Right, let's try that. Okay, so we're in the spreadsheet now, idiot. When you're putting attachments, I've got to go and find this. This is ridiculous. Opera. No, cheat. Right, that's better. Sorry about that. That was a mistake too, wasn't it? Dearie me. These are all in the Just gonna stop sharing a second, Robert. Hang on a minute. I'm
No
gonna find the
problem.
right place. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't do this before. Let's come back into sharing. There. There. Right. In Long Sutton, in the asset register, in the contents, we want to turn that on. We want to turn that on in the contents. Here you have an attachment. So the name of the attachment is going to have to fit into this tiny little space. And if you're doing inspection records where there's, say, one a month or one every 2 months or whatever it happens to be, they're all going to have the same title. So how do you find the difference between them? The clue is to use a date as the first thing in the row here, and use the date in the year, month, date format, so that it'll sort chronologically. And then all of your inspection records will be in the right order, because this list sorts chronologically. And you need to put the date first, but it needs to be in the year, month, day order so that it will sort. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Say yes, please. All right, let's go back to our presentation. We need to go back to where we were. And we've done this. So we've demonstrated adding attachment to the asset register, and we talked about naming them. Good, move on. Table view, you know all about table view. We've done this a gazillion times, but there it is. You've done the asset register export as well, so that gets covered. But we mentioned here, all the layers are selected by default, but if you want to change them, you walk into here and you deselect the ones you don't want. And don't worry about if it looks like it's doing nothing, it is working, but because it's going up to the cloud, it may take a few more seconds than you thought it would. And there it is. If you've seen that before. Data extract is, again, if you want to do an extract from a specific item within your asset register, click on the 3 dots up in the top right corner here, and you get this mini menu. Data extract is a way of getting the data out, but copying to another layer is also very useful. It's slightly misleading, this statement, because what it copies is not the data, unfortunately. It copies the polygon itself. So if you've done, for instance, a whole load of work on your cricket pavilion, and then you say we want to store that same cricket pavilion in, I don't know, recreational layer or something, you can copy it and it'll copy the pavilion, but it won't copy any of the data or the attachments to it. But it's a good way of saving you the time of redrawing it. Okay, so this is using the data extract. It'll ask you where you want to extract from. It'll give you all the layers of the asset register, and you just say, I want that one. And then you run it, and it'll come up with the data, and you can export it as before, as you wish. So that covers the fun of an asset register. This is the interactive bit, which is only really useful if you've got a mobile phone with you, which you can play with. Do you have one?
Yes, I do.
And you ready to go through this exercise?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the first thing we need to do is to put an object into your asset register that you're going to be able to go and photograph when we do this exercise. So it could be your desk, it could be a flower pot, it could be a waste paper basket, but choose something and put it into your asset register. Or you may already have it. If you're sitting at a desk which is already in the asset register, that's fine. The other thing you need to do is to enable geolocation in your Parish Online account. And this is a great test of your memory. Do you remember how to do that? Because you need to turn that on in order for Parish Online to work properly in your phone. So create an object, unless you've already got one, and switch on geolocation, please. This is in your computer account.
Right. Geolocation is on.
Well done. All right, good memory.
Although it's not where I am.
It takes a little while. It will do.
Yeah.
Just leave it a bit. It's not instant. It's as the GPS refines your location, it will do. But I agree, it takes initially it won't find you, but it will in due course. It takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes to
Okay.
find it. In the meantime, pick up your smartphone, if you will.
Yep.
Turn on the browser and browse to Parish Online. And if you cannot remember off the top of your head what the address for that is, I will let you know. Bear with me for a second. Yep.
Should I select the Parish Online login?
Absolutely. Yep. Have you got it there?
Yep.
I'm assuming you remember your login.
Yes.
Good. So yes, it's the .xmap.cloud/login.
Log in. Right, I'm on it on my phone and the computer.
Fantastic. So in your phone, you now need to you don't need to do this today because you're not going to move anywhere. But if you're going to go and walk about, you probably want to turn off Wi-Fi because that will give the wrong location.
Okay.
Because you need your SIM to do the work for you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter today because you're going to be, you're not moving very far. I trust that you've selected a device to photograph that's quite near you.
Yeah.
All right. So you've turned on the geolocation in the computer. So your Parish Online will now ask you if Parish Online can use your location. And
yeah.
You have to say allow, yes?
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, the crosshair on the bottom of your screen needs to become a filled icon, which shows that it's then tracking your location. So you should have a blue dot popping up in your location now on the smartphone, a bit like it does in Google Map. Do you have a blue dot?
Yeah, I think I've got that.
Good. Okay, well, it's not clear to see because you're not moving very fast, so it doesn't follow you. So now you need to stand in front of whatever it was that you said you were going to take a picture of.
Yeah.
Is your desk or the wastepaper basket or something?
There's a sofa in my office, so I'll take a picture of that then.
Perfect. So move to there and stand in front of it.
Yeah.
And then on the menu button in the phone, there are 3 vertical dots. You can select the appropriate layer. So whatever layer that sofa is an asset in, is it under building contents? Probably, unless it's under furniture.
Although, yeah, I've not set it up on the computer yet. So
but if it doesn't exist in the computer, then it's not going to find it.
no.
So can you just go back to the computer and add in sofa as an asset in your asset register? And if you want to record it as a test item, you can do that so you can delete it later. Or if it's going to be, if it's a genuine asset belonging to the council, you can leave it there.
So I select that. Add feature. No, it shouldn't be building, should it?
There should be building contents, I would think.
Yeah.
Certainly today's exercise, particularly in building contents.
That makes more sense. Oh, yeah. Add feature. Furniture,
Yep. Perfect.
black.
Yep.
Sofa.
Perfect.
Yeah. Green room.
You need to actually locate it on the map so that you can save the record.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Great.
Condition used but good.
Yes. Not too worn.
No. So
Right.
I've saved that now.
Okay, so now you can pick up your phone.
Yep.
Click on the menu button, which is the 3 vertical dots, and turn on the building contents layer in the asset register.
So whenever I go on the 3 dots, it just puts up geolocation.
Right. You may find that it's the menus or the layers are already there. You may need to scroll to the bottom of your screen or move the thing.
Yeah.
You found it?
I've found it.
Good. Okay. So go for building contents and find the sofa.
So found it.
Good. So select it so that the data record opens up, and then look for attachments and click on plus. Say yes, Graham.
Yes.
Is it working?
It is. I'm just I've selected it. Oh, there we are. I need to keep opening the tab. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
you go down to attachments.
Yeah.
Click on the plus.
Yeah.
And it says what you want to attach. Take, and you're going to say photo.
Photo.
Now take the photo of your sofa.
Yep.
And add it to the record.
Tick. And that should come up then, I suppose.
Good. So now the fun thing is go back to your desktop.
Yeah.
See if there's a photograph of the sofa there.
All right, let's click on it. Building contents, sofa, one attachment.
Success.
Just opening it up.
All right.
Ah, perfect.
Excellent. So now you know how to do it within your office. The same principle applies to the great outdoors.
Brilliant. That's
So,
that's very straightforward.
Isn't it? It's a fun thing. There's actually a very nice video. If you forget how to do it, there's a very nice video in the knowledge base about this. If you click on or search geolocation and then watch the video, it's quite good fun.
Okay.
All right. So now we're back at the desktop and we're moving on to the next step in this presentation, which is what we've done. So we discussed why you have an asset register, basically insurance purposes. We discussed what its structure is and the fact that you can't change it, but it is there. You've used it. We've attached things to it. We've edited it. We've reported it. We've done data extract. We've done table view, and we've covered geolocation. That's it for this side of the presentation. Do you have any questions?
No, I think we've answered them as we've been going along, really.
Exactly. It's very straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah.
So good. Let's move on then to the next session, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, perfect.
Which was 106, whatever 106 happens to be. Let's try changing that so we can kill you. I'm just going to stop sharing a second to change over documents.
No problem.
Come out of there. Thank you. Let's kill you. And, kill you. And let's open the next one. 106. Public maps, that's tremendous. I'm delighted you've chosen this one. I think this is actually my favorite asset within.
Yeah, it was a really good kind of plus point for me for that, because I think
Excellent. Okay, well, let's come in and bring you back in. And let's come to here. There we go. Right, so public maps. Usual notice, we'll jump over that one. Agenda. We're going to talk about what they are, why they're appealing, and then go ahead and how to create them, and then go ahead and have you do it. So that's very straightforward. So it's public maps is a way of getting data that you're storing in Parish Online out into the wide world, usually on a website. But just remember, you can just send people a URL. They can stick that into their browser, and they're doing. Now, because this is all cloud-based, everything that you can get into Parish Online is visible on a public map, with a couple of exceptions. So one exception is that you can only do a public map within your parish boundary. So in fact, if you're really strict, it goes into about 200 meters into the surrounding parishes, just so that roads and things can be seen where they follow on. But although you can go all over the country and add records all over the country with Parish Online, public maps, for I guess reasonable reasons, only work in your parish. You don't want people up in Huddersfield to be looking at something that you think exists in Huddersfield but doesn't. So again, they can be seen from anywhere, but the data that they're showing is only that which applies to your parish, which is nice from a security point of view. Okay, so every time you make a change within Parish Online, it's immediately reflected in the public map. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to go and amend the public map. It all happens. The other thing that isn't visible is attachments. Much to my sorrow, they haven't yet cracked the problem of attachments, but there is a workaround. All right, if you have got an attachment that you really want people to be able to see in the public map, set it up with a hyperlink, and then the hyperlink is visible on the public map. So if that makes sense, if you've got a document that really belongs up in the public sphere, well, there are two ways around, actually. You can put it as a separate document on the website in question, or you can put within your public map a hyperlink to the document, and you just need somewhere where that hyperlink can reach to. And you as a township will certainly have the means of demonstrating data, I would think, externally. Anyway, that's neither here nor there for the moment. Just one of the exceptions to public maps is, by and large, you cannot add attachments. So when people get to the website, they can view and scroll around it as they wish. They can turn theirs on and off. They can do it, everything that you can do. So I'm going to show a demonstration, I hope. Yep. Now this link may or may not work. We'll see. So you've probably seen this one because it's us. So it takes a little while for data to flow down from the internet, from the cloud. It is happening. I've made the mistake of including overhead photography in this one, which is a lot of data to download.
Yeah.
So bear with us a second, but it will come up. Notice that it is just a URL. So you can copy this, put it in an email and send it to people, and they can look at whatever you're looking. So
Can they do that even if they don't have Parish Online?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. No. This is all cloud-based. Doesn't need Parish Online at all. It's just browser accessible, which I think is one of the great appeals. So, and also you'll see that the system generates the code necessary to add this to your public website. So you don't need to be a coder. The system will generate the code for you. This is taking longer than I thought it might. Let me speed things up a bit. No, let's go back to using one of the other examples. Let's see if that's any better. No, that's just to you. Right, we'll do this as an external thing. Here's something I prepared a little earlier. So, okay, there's one of them. So here's our local village hall, and I think we put somewhere a note about the community will be planning applications. So you can go into planning applications. Here's how it appears on our website as it's downloading. And then I've put instructions to people of how to use it.
Okay.
So they can move around here. Again, we're just letting the data download. For our example purposes, I'm going to take you elsewhere just to show one that I use as an example because I think it's fabulous. So Stoddart is a parish near us, which has the Hinkley Point nuclear reactor in it.
All right, yeah.
So Hinkley Point is all being built here. And Hinkley Point said, we know that we're creating a ton of annoyance to your villagers. You know, we've got 5,000 people working here. They get bussed in and out every day. There are huge numbers of lorry movements. So how can we say we'd like to apologize and make things better? So they said, we'd like to upgrade a footpath. So these are all the footpaths within the Stoddart parish. And they said, here, wouldn't this be nice if this muddy, potholed, water-filled track was changed to a nice, smooth piece of tarmac where mums can sort of walk with their prams and children can ride on bicycles and scooters and roller skates and adults can go roaring past on bicycles. And basically, it's a big improvement to the community. And everyone said, that's a great idea. Thank you very much. And they decided to accept it until the parish clerk heard about it. And he said, hang on a second. He said, it's not that simple. He said, start thinking about what happens if we're near the sea. So this is a Ramsar area. Turn on the Ramsar layer. And all of a sudden you find that this footpath they've selected is now subject to all sorts of additional regulations. And then he said, never mind Ramsar, what about sites of special scientific interest? So he turned those on and lo and behold, this footpath is yet again deeply within. And so it goes through all of these choices. They've all got reasons why you shouldn't make any changes to that particular footpath. So the answer was simple, just choose one that isn't inside all of those areas. But no one would have known that all these complications were going to be run into if they hadn't used the map to show what was going on. And this is a public map. So I'm just using now my browser. I'm not within Parish Online. I'm showing you what your public would see if they clicked on one of your public maps. And so if I turn all the layers off, sorry, let's turn them all off. And close the window. You've now got just a basic map, but they can zoom in. They can scroll around left to right, up and down, everything that you could do on a map, and they can turn the layers on and off as you wish. So let's turn on the public rights of way, but they can also do what Geosphere calls info clicking. So if you've got a record attached to this, it will bring it up, which maybe there isn't one because this is the sign to the, what's the word I'm looking for? The Somerset County Council one. Maybe there's no record attached besides the ID. I thought there was, but obviously not. But if we had a feature that had a data record underneath it, then you could click on that data record and it would pop up on the left-hand side. If I show you our planning applications, where are we? Long Sutton, footpath maps, planning applications, maps only. That should be faster. There we go. So again, this is what would appear on the public map. The public can zoom in, so it makes it a bit clearer. They can say, whoa, way too much information. Let's turn off 21 and just look at 19 because there's fewer of them. You'll recognize this because you popped it up in one of the earlier slides. So then you say, so what is happening about this one? Click on it. Up pops the record. And you've put in the link to Somerset County Council's portal. So they click on the link and bingo, they're able to see everything that they want to see. They can see all the documents for the case. They can see all the objections. They can see that the person making the application said, I've talked to all of my neighbors. And when you look through here, where are all those discussions with the neighbors he said he'd had? They're not there. So it's just a way of a public forum for everybody to be much better informed about what's going on. So that's basically why I like public maps, because once you've done this, then it just updates itself. Every time you put a new planning application into Parish Online, it pops up on the public map. And every time, as we discussed, when the committee has got together, the parish council, they've made a decision, that decision is visible on the public map. There is a big caveat, which we'll cover when we go into this in more detail, but I'll mention it now. There may well be stuff in Parish Online that you don't want to be made public. If you're running, let's say, the allotments, and you say, this man is a lousy pair, you have to kick him 3 times before he pays his bill, that sort of information should not go out on the public website, but you can make sure you deselect it. So you only put up stuff that you think should be public information. So you're not going to hurt anybody with these planning applications. So this one is not done anything about catching up yet. So let's go back into the presentation. This is the Sugursey one, and this one was the planning applications without the overhead photography. So I've gone the wrong way. Let's go that way. So how do you do it? Well, you go into the public map tool, which is through the top right-hand corner, Cogwheel Administration and Public Maps. You select the layer that you want to share, and there can be lots of those. You hide the content you don't want to share, which we just touched on, and then the system will generate the code you need automatically, and you can just tuck it into your website. That's how you stick it on your website. We'll now go through and do each of those steps. So get to public maps, going up here by Cogwheel Administration and click. Come over here and select public maps. And then I've got a list, obviously, of existing ones. You may have none whatsoever, but to create a new one, click on the plus sign. And this is sort of a unique part of Parish Online. This doesn't happen anywhere else in the system, but they've given you a timeline here, or a route map. So they've highlighted that you're on the first step, which is selecting the base map. And then as we work through, you'll see that each of these is becoming alive. It's just a way of helping you keep track of where you've got to. So in the underlying or the base map area, you can choose, you want this to be based on aerial photography, just on detailed mapping, or less detailed mapping. Doesn't matter which one you take. The one you selected gets outlined in green. So here we've obviously selected the detailed map. But if we'd selected one of the others, these would have gone green instead. And we click on next, and it comes up and says, you're now going to select your layers. So these are the layers that are in your parish layers, basically, or in the asset register. Do I mean that? Yes. Sorry, I'm racing here. So every time you click on any one of these, it'll move it over to the right-hand side. So you start off with a blank empty column on the right-hand side. Then as you select the layers you want to display, they switch over to here. And by the same token, if you decide you didn't mean to put this one over there, you click on the arrow and send it back again. Okay, when you're ready, you click on next. And this is now all the other layers available to you, and you can select those. So the first button was your layers, and the second button is other layers. Now, you don't need to have any of these or any of these as long as you've got one from somewhere. All right, so you don't have to have any of your layers in there as long as you've got one of the public layers, or you don't have to have any of these layers in here as long as you've got one from my layer. Crystal clear? Yeah. Racing right along then. So on this screen, you're choosing the start location. And basically, this is what people are going to see when they first click on the public map. So you want to choose, and you can scroll here left and right, and you can zoom in up and down. Choose something that your public are going to recognize. There's no point in showing them a lovely picture of a field if they've got no idea where the field is. And there's no point in showing them a picture of the whole of Wiltshire if what you want them to do is to focus on the town hall. So the purpose of this screen then is just to help people orient themselves when they first come into the public map, because once they're in, they can always zoom and scroll to where they want to be. Okay, so having got there, we go into next. And it's now saying, I need a title. Now the title up here is not going to be anything that the public sees. It's just to remind you of what this layer is all about, or what this public map is all about. But this is also where you're going to check what shows up when the public first go into the public map. So are you going to allow them to turn layers on or off? The default is yes, because that's what you want to do. Are you going to allow them to ask questions and see attributes? Again, the answer is going to be yes, usually. And will you allow a postcode search? Again, the default is yes, but you can turn these things off where appropriate. Similarly, in the start layers, you may say you want to show everything to begin with, or you can say, I don't think there should be any. You should give them the option of turning on what they want when they want to turn it on. Okay, so here I've selected the whole bloody lot, but you could just make this one or none in what comes up to begin with. You can always go back to make changes if you don't like what you've done, but we're going to say we're happy with this and we'll save it. So this is now where you get your code. Okay, so what they're saying here is this is what you've chosen to do. You've chosen to use the underlying PSGA map. You're going to use the standard layer. You're going to use these planning applications, and that'll all be available to the public. Then the code that the URL that sort of shows you all this is this one. It's quite a good idea to copy that just by clicking on here. Then you can paste it into your browser and see a full screen version of what you're going to, the public's going to see. Or you can just click on the preview here, but you see a much smaller version. So the preview is a good way of just checking that you've got the right place. But you can do a much better check, I think, by copying the URL, sticking it into a new browser tab, and it'll pop up. And then when the time comes to put the new public map into your village website, this is the code that your website designer or manager or whoever he is will need to use. And again, it's just a matter of clicking and cutting and pasting this and sticking it in an email and sending it to him, or if you're the person, do it yourself. If you go into the knowledge base in Parish Online, there are specific instructions on how you add code if your website is based on Wix or on somebody else whose name escapes me at the moment. But again, they're very helpful to make sure it's easy as possible for you to do this. Okay, so those are the steps. It's going to go live when you've finished. So we now move on to my warning. It's likely you will want the attributes to be shown up by people, but you may not want them all, and therefore you have to select the layers that you use to make each desired attribute explicitly public. So we're going to do this here. In my layers icon, we're going to select the one we're talking about. And we're going to go into columns, which pops up when you're in your My Layers. And you will see this. And we've seen this, we've done this when we were making a required column by filling in this bunch. And these ones are all filled in for you automatically. However, this layer or column, column is completely empty. And you have to manually say, yes, I want these things to appear, but you might very well not check the notes, which is where it says this guy is rude and difficult and hard to deal with. So you get the choice of everything you do want to show up, and specifically can leave out those things you don't want to show up. Okay?
Yep.
Right. So in my example, I've toggled everything on because I'm not fussed about what I've written in the notes, and you're finished. So you can click on the save. So things that we've already mentioned, it automatically creates the iframe code that your web designer needs. You can edit this for a better size of page that you're creating. And again, I've just linked you to the knowledge base article that discusses that, but it's pretty good if you find that, you know, it's a fraction of a millimeter too far, too large or too small, you can adjust that. The knowledge base articles on public maps have 2 very good videos, so I recommend that. It also gives you, Squarespace was the other one. So specifically, if you're using Squarespace as your website host or you're using Wix, then here's how you do that. And if you want to go ahead and edit your public map, you go into Cogwheel Administration, Public Maps, and then just click on it and edit it with the pencil icon. And again, we're going to do all this when we do it with you. I'm just listing it here for future reference should you need it. All right. This is your own opportunity to create your own public map. So by all means, go right ahead and get started. And then I've given you the huge hint that the way to get going is to go onto the Cogwheel Administration Public Map and click on the plus sign, and away you go.
Cool.
I think it is actually. So feel free to go ahead and be robust.
Cool.
You're already there?
Yep.
Do me a favor. Stick the URL in an email and send it to me. I'd love to have a look.
In the chat.
Oh, can you bear me a second, Robert? I'm just going to answer the phone that keeps ringing.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Were you able to send it to me?
Yeah, I've sent it in the chat on here.
In the chat? Oh, right. That's even more smart. How clever of you. I can't see the chat unless I come out of sharing. So I'm going to stop that. Going into chat, one record. Yeah, absolutely. Look at that. Whoa. That's great. Oh, that's the footpath you created.
Yeah.
Oh, and you put arrows on the footpath. Robert, that's
Yeah.
so much fun. Well done. I'm very impressed. Okay, well, that works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works really well, I think.
That's very good. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that was the last step. Let me just check the recording. Yep. That's the end of your public map session.
Perfect.
I can just go back to the screen and see. We always end up with a question and answer session, but you've been doing that as we go along. So I imagine there are no puzzlements in your eyes.
No, definitely not. I don't, it's not related to public maps, but I've just thought of a question. I don't know whether it's possible. Obviously, one of the layers that I use quite often is the land registry one with the cadastral packages.
Square. Yep.
That's it. Obviously, if we know that we own that piece of land and we want to colour it so that it's kind of flagged up as ours on the mapping, is there a way to select the actual cadastral package? Because obviously that already is a boundary around that piece of land, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Or do you have to take the time to draw the line around it yourself to add it as a feature?
It's a good question. Let's see what happens if we do the copy to another layer thing. So I don't actually know. Do you want to share your screen? And we'll drive through it together and we'll see if you can. I think it's a very good question. There is another way around it if you don't do that, but if you'd like to try that.
That should have come up
So,
now.
Yep. So if you select the cadastral stuff.
Yeah. And we'll use the rec ground. I think it's an easy.
Okay.
One. There we are.
Yep, perfect. So there's the thing. Now, if you select the one that you're interested in, okay, so the record comes up. If you go up to the top three dots, copy to another layer, and then select the layer you want to put it in. Just Robert Test would be good.
Oh, right, yeah.
Start with just whilst you're playing. There it is.
Perfect.
Oh no, that's
no.
Sorry. No, type it in now. Type it as a name, say cadastral plot or something. Yep, and save it. And now go to Robert's test. Whoa! If you come out of there, go to Robert's test layer. Yeah, come out all together. Whoa, that's very interesting.
It's added the whole of Cairn to it, hasn't it?
That looks like it, isn't it? Is your layer turned on? I can't see that it is. Oh, yes, it is. Parish layers. Okay, it's got one on. Robert's test layer is on. Yeah. So, okay, maybe we need to be more selective in how we do this. Let's go back to the cadastral plot. Sorry, I meant the layer for.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's all right. That's my mistake. Yep, down.
Yeah.
So go into there again. Just turn it on. Oh, you need to turn off your public map. Sorry, your parish layer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Good. Yep.
Turn that off.
So let's see if there's a way of actually storing that you've clicked on that one, because it was that record. Can we just, out of interest sake, choose a smaller plot? That one there.
That one.
Yes.
Which is ours as well, out of interest.
All right. So just click on that.
Yeah.
And what record comes up? Does it come up with?
I'll have to refresh it. It doesn't seem to be doing it.
Oh, okay.
That does seem to
be a
bit.
Oh, you know what? The record it came up with, it might well be the entire part of Cairn as far as the registry is concerned. So if you just click on the ones exactly. Put on the.
Turn that off again.
Registry. Yep.
Turn that back on.
Perfect. So that's a huge layer, isn't it? Yeah, that's actually smaller. Okay, so just click on that as you suggested.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing anything again. Nothing? No.
Oh. Well, choose any old one. It doesn't matter which. I'm just sort of interested to see what happens.
That one.
Yeah, click on that one.
Yeah, that's not doing
Doesn't
it
want
either.
to play, does it?
No.
I think the answer is that it's doing the it's taking the whole of Khan,
Yeah.
because that's what we saw in your test. So the next step round it, Robert, is to cheat a little bit.
Mm.
All right. So that's what you want to copy, the recreation ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into your test layer. Yep.
Yeah.
And right click and add a feature. Yeah, give it a name.
Test.
Now, okay, so now move to the boundary of the cadastral area that you want to do, and just zoom around it quickly. Just sort of brush. Yeah, just click once, and then there you go. Yeah, just quick and dirty. Remember.
Yeah.
That's good. You are slick on this mouse. You really are.
Yeah, so it is like just having to do it.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't want you to be. I want you to do quick and dirty rather than follow that circle, because you lose it. Start again. So if you click once and then draw the map, drag the mouse, does it do anything? No, we've got to create a new record. Let's kill that one. Just click on the editor X. Let's continue. And now click on add feature. Do it again. Just go zipping around. Exactly.
Just zoom out a bit now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm very impressed. You're a lot faster than I am at this. But just again, just zip straight up there. Never mind the round bit. Just double click. Good. Give it a name. And save it. All right. Now close the feature editor. And click on your area. Oh, let's do a favor. Let's get rid of the
the other.
That's a real pain, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you go into click anywhere on the red outside the lighter pink, that one. Can you go and delete that one?
And delete. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So now you can edit that block to make it sort of tidy around the edges.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that's the best I can do in terms of making it simple for you. Just copy the original one, and then if you zoom in now, you get that's much easier to do. There you go. And now you can put it into place. Yep. You see?
Yeah, that's how I suspected it would need doing.
It's a pain, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought, if considering everything's already kind of got a set boundary by land ownership, it would be good if you could
so much better, wouldn't it? Yes. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Well, so that was one of your questions, which is the only one that occurred to you, is it, so far?
Yeah, that's the only one, really.
Right. Well, I'm sorry about that. I wish it was a better answer.
No, it's fine.
It's having to do. How much property do you own in the town? A lot. Is there a lot of these that you're going to have to do?
Well, in actual fact, it's not a huge amount, so
yeah, there's not that much trouble.
No, so it's not too bad. And then I suppose any edits you do, you just make sure you always click save. Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Cool.
Good. Any other questions, Robert?
No, that's everything from me, I think.
Well, I'm stunned at your ability to absorb information. I really am. The only other person I've ever come across like this was a lady who, when I got to the bit that said interactive, now it's your turn, she said, I've been doing it as we go along. Exactly. Everything you said, I've just done for real. So, and I thought, wow, because, when there's a group of people on who often stop you and start you, then I tend to race through the slides very quickly, and she was still able to keep up. Fascinating. You're a very fast learner. It's fun. Well, thank you very much. I look forward to hearing that you've been hugely successful. And let me know if I can help you persuade other people to use the system. I'd love to pitch in.
Yeah, I definitely will. Lovely.
Okay, Robert, lovely to
Cheers.
talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Cheers,
Take
Graham.
care. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.